Pitch grounders, we are live again. What's going on? And I hope you're having a really good Wednesday and not facing the midweek blues. So, wherever you're joining in from, tell us in the comment section down below. And today's presentation is about Userbot, and we are back again with Team Userbot, where we're going to show you how Userbot is actually different from all the other products out there. So we have seen people joining in, and this is the best time to give you that 30-second um, countdown, and we're going to resume the webinar in 30 seconds. So let's wait for people to join in. That's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are back, and we have many people tuning in right now. One user is Simon. Hi, Simon. How's everything going at your end? Where are you joining in from? Leave it in the comment section down below. So today we are live with Team Userbot, and today we're going to talk about a really interesting topic, that is what makes Userbot different from the rest. And when I was curating this webinar with Team Userbot, we thought, okay, why do we need this webinar and why are you attending this webinar? I'll tell you why. As a fellow marketer myself, I'm confused with all the chatbots out there in the market. Like, you go type in chatbot tools or etc. on Google, you'll find tens of thousands of chatbots on the internet. And trust me, guys, as a marketer, it's overwhelming to choose which chatbot is right for me, which chatbot is right for my site, which chatbot is right for my business. And I'm sure you have the same issue too, right? Am I right? Tell me in the comment section down below. So that's why I crafted this webinar. I mean, me and Team Userbot, like, we discussed about this topic, and we thought this topic is essential for you because you would know what makes Userbot different, what makes Userbot stand out from the rest of the chatbots that you see on the internet. And joining us today is Marco. He is the co-founder and CTO of Userbot, and he has prepared a presentation for us today. And I'll do less of talking because you guys are all waiting for Marco to join in. So I'll add Marco to the stream, and he's going to present the Userbot today. And if you have any questions in the meantime, you can always leave it in the comment section down below, and we will answer all your questions in the Q&A session in the end. So stay tuned for that, and let's see how Userbot is different from all the chatbots out there on the internet, and how Userbot is right or wrong for you. Let's see all that. So I've added Marco. So Marco, how's everything going at your end?
Hello, very well, thank you very much. Hello to everybody and good afternoon. So we actually are made this presentation to show you what makes Userbot different. Let's start with our today arguments. We will take cross over user experience. That is absolutely the simplest you can imagine. How quickly is the training of Userbot? Little more advanced features, and finally we'll take a look to the technology. In this presentation, I switch between the presentation and the product itself. So let's start with why Userbot is so simple. I'll show you how Userbot can be easily configured and deployed on web or social to begin. So if you have a new bot, I created an empty bot, a new one. There are just two steps that makes you start. You will have to edit the conversation flow, that is the welcome flow, is already created by Userbot. And you can write anything you want to tell to your users. You have to publish your flow, and once published, the flow is already ready to be used. You can test it choosing Test Your AI. So I say it's okay, you use the message I said. I want to integrate this flow in my web page. This is just a one-click operation using the web chat plugin. I just have to copy the text, the JavaScript, and put the JavaScript in my site. From the dashboard, I can also change the way the chat behaves. So I can choose color, I can choose the name, I can choose a different role from the bot, and I can customize it in many ways. There are a lot of things you can do. You will find anything in the configuration. Once I save, the changes will be reflected directly to my website. I don't have to change anything more. I don't have to change again the JavaScript. So this makes Userbot really simple to be implemented. Also, Facebook implementation is simple. You just have to give authorization to the bot to use a specific page. So really, really easy, really fast. So we see how Userbot can be started and deployed to a website or a chat in a very easy way. Now we'll take a look to how quick and powerful is Userbot training. What do you do usually to train an artificial intelligence? You have a list of what are the most frequently questions that your user asks. And then you can train the artificial intelligence with the answer. So let's create our first training. I decide that I want my artificial intelligence answer initially to a simple question, and I will use the deep learning technology to do this. We'll see the other technology later. I decide to order a coffee. My users always order a coffee, so I want to create an answer for this order. So I train with a few variation of the questions, the first interaction. And I save it. Again, I can easily test my first interaction with the test AI. Now, I'll try to ask a user about something that is a little bit different from what I trained. Just to check that it can answer even to something different from what I really trained. Great, so my first interaction has been created, and I trained it in a very easy way. If you have already a small list of what are the most requested information from your user, you can really train Userbot in a very easy way. But you can also do something more. Let's see, for example, a flow that creates empathy with the users. And this is also our next slide. In this part, we will see how to create a form that collects data and how the data can be reused with variables. Also, data will be reused or even in external application. So let's edit the welcome flow. In the welcome flow, I add, after the first message, a form. And the form will be, I will change this to ask the name of the user, and I edit the field. I decided this is a text field. There are different kind of fields I can use. I call it your name, even better, username. And I decided it's a required field. I decide also to connect this variable, this information the user will enter, in a variable that is named username. And I save it. Then I tell Userbot to continue to go on after the user filled the form and say, hello, you notice there is an enter variable button where I can choose from variables I already created. So hello username, and I save the flow. I can easily test it. So Userbot is asking my name. I say I'm Marco. I enter the information, and Userbot answer me with hello Marco. Where I found this data? I found this data in the chat of the specific user. So for example, this is our test chat. You see user update information, hello Marco. In the user detail, I found that there is a form information that is named form profile, and followed by the name of variable I decided to apply to this information, and is filled with Marco. So we see how to reuse information in the flows, how to collect the information we already have, but we can also send all the form information, for example, to an external application like Zapier, with the Zapier integration for Userbot. So you can collect with the single AI many information, and you can put, for example, them in a Google document. And this is very simple, and you can do in very quick way. Now, there is a user that asked me if it's possible to attach file or images. No, this actually isn't possible. Will be released in the first quarter of next year. Thank you for the question. So let's go on with the next step. That is, what if Userbot doesn't know how to answer to a specific question? Userbot has a system of exception management. It's called, it's the option page. You see, I can choose how to start the conversation. Actually, you see, we start a flow that is welcome flow. You can choose different flows, or you can decide to start a conversation with a simple text message. But you can also decide how Userbot manage exceptions. So what the AI do if they didn't know how to answer? Actually is set to still continue to respond. But you can do many different things. You can scale to an agent, so scale the conversation to a human operator, or start a flow. Starting a flow allows you to select one of the flow you created. So maybe this may be useful if you want to try to give the user a few options and recover the conversation with the most asked questions. Maybe you have a flow with 2 or 3 buttons that allow you to have the answer to the most common questions. You will notice also that there is a number of time. These are the number of time the Userbot will try to give alternatives to the user. For the moment, let's keep let's still continue to respond. But you know, you can do a lot of things with this stuff. You can also have the option to give a timetable activity if you have human operators, and this allows you to define where the human operators is available. So you can choose different times on different days during the week. This is useful when you have a human operator that answers only in specific times, and in the other times, Userbot will ignore the option to scale to an agent and try to answer the user by its own. Actually, I see a user saying we need natural language processing. Well, we have a surprise for you. Just have you need a little bit of patience, a few days, and we have something for you.
That's awesome. Yes, we have a surprise for you, Sandbox Games. So please wait.
Really, really a great surprise. What we said, what we see until today is until now is how the exception is managed. That you can use a flow as a parachute for user when you don't have to, don't want to move the conversation directly to a human operator, and that there is a timetable option. But let's take a deep look. Userbot can jump between flows and interaction. And we can have generic answer messages that we can reuse in many different points, for example, in flows or in interaction. And we'll also take a look to the data inside dashboard. So you can jump directly from flow to interaction answer and vice versa. I didn't show you in the flows that Userbot can, for example, have buttons that give a specific answer, for example, or phone number. I'm sorry, my keyboard is sometimes stuck. Or that there are buttons that can for example, take an URL as a parameter. What happened that when I click this button, the user will be redirected to the Userbot site. And if the user click the test message button, a simple message is shown. But if we have, for example, if we need that this message is printed in different places, let's see, for example, we have a test button too. Maybe this is in a different part of the flow, it's somewhere else in a different place, but you want to have the same answer. What we have to do is to duplicate the message. Well, that's not true. We can also use a little tricks. In the training, sorry. In the training, we can, for example, train an interaction using the X-exact match. This is a kind of match that only works when the user exactly writes the same sentence with spaces and so on. So I create something that a user will never write, and I decide that this show that kind of message. This interaction is the one I will use in different points of the flow to have something I can edit anytime, and that and where any edit will be reflected in all the part of the flow. So I delete those two messages. I choose to recall an interaction. I search the interaction. I find the one I already created. I do the same thing in this one. I save the flow and I test it. As you can see, now I have buttons. If I click one, what I get is the interaction message. If I change the text of the interaction, both buttons will change the answer in the same time. So this is a tip, and also is something that show you how Userbot can jump between interaction and messages. Now let's do the inverse. So jumping from a flow to from an interaction to a flow. Let's create a new interaction. Let's say, for example, I need help. Please help me. I decide to start to answer with not with a message but with a flow. For this demo, I will choose again the welcome flow. So asking for help will start again the welcome flow. I can also decide where start the welcome flow. You see, I have many messages. This one is the one selected. You can name message in different ways, and you can jump directly to middle message of the flow. So not the first one, but for example, a specific part of the tree. And if I test this one, after telling a game, I have to remove the form, maybe. After telling my name, I decide not to answer this question, but to say, please help me. What happened? That from the interaction, Userbot will start again the same flow. Also, notice there is already the filled data. So if you have a flow that starts more than one time, user data will remain in the user chat. So the user doesn't have to fill them anymore. You just have to click. So what we actually see is that we can jump between flows and interaction. We can create messages that are reused in many parts because I can also create an interaction, for example, using again the deep learning. Can you please tell me your phone number? I need your phone. Is your phone number? And I can decide to answer starting, for example, a flow. What I start with this flow? I can start a flow that answers directly or show the message we already have. But I can also say, sure, and choose, for example, to add one or more button that allows me to jump to a specific interaction. Then here, for example, phone number, and so on. If I say I can have a button that print me again the same information I trained before. Thank you very much. I see there are compliments in the comments. Thank you very much. So let's move to the last step of this part, the data insight dashboard. Actually, the insight should be empty for this session, but I can still tell you what, because it's a very new bot, it doesn't still have information. But what will you see is a very good statistic of how many conversation and message has been managed by Userbot, how many has been scaled to human agent, and how the chat has been automated. Also, there is options for the most popular interaction and the most popular interaction group. There are a lot of data here. This data will fill and change while you use Userbot, so you can exactly follow what your user are are doing day by day. The next part I will see is related to interactions. So we'll see the chat interaction, the application interaction, and also I will tell you something about the coming next, what we'll implement in next weeks or months. The interactions actually allows you to integrate Userbot in a web chat, as we said before, in Slack directly using a webhook, in Facebook Messenger, giving authorization to Userbot to manage a specific page. In WordPress, because we have a WordPress plugin that you can directly download for the WordPress page. Install the plugin in your WordPress. Is as you can see, is updated very often updated. And you just have to fill the information in the plugin to use Userbot directly in WordPress. Twitter is a specific upgrade that we give to customers that want to have it in Slack, Facebook Messenger, and use a direct Twitter message. Actually, for automation, we have Kaplan integration. This is a system that tracks expeditions. So for e-commerce and online shops, if you have a Kaplan account, you can give the Kaplan API key, and Userbot will be able to answer to questions such as where is my expedition, when will arrive, did you already send my item, and so on. And also for Zapier, you can have Zapier integrated directly and connect Userbot with a lot of applications. What will come next? Well, we are planning to deploy Facebook WhatsApp integration. This will be one of our must. And we are about to deploy a mobile Userbot application, so you can answer to the user anywhere, anytime. Actually, Userbot is a mobile site, so you can even use on mobile phone or tablets, but there is no mobile application. Well, we are developing the mobile application. Next interaction, we will update Telegram, and we will update the Android and iOS SDK. Great. Let's go to the next part that is related to the technology. What we'll see? We will see the natural language processing and deep learning engine. We will take a look to the application architecture and how Userbot scale. And a small part, we will take a look to the patents. Userbot actually have patents pending on natural language processing technology. Okay. Actually, these are all the things you can find in the Userbot engine. We have a natural language understanding engine with its own intent classification network. About this, the last part of the presentation will take a deep look to the intent classification performance and benchmarking. We have a custom natural network entity recognition. So we have the entity recognition for the part of speech for in the intent. So we can understand the specific part of the user request and understand if, for example, the user is talking about a date or a city or a name and so on. Everything is based on a proprietary architecture that has been inspired to Facebook Starspace. Userbot also has a part of speech. This, for example, allows Userbot to understand that the word phone is used, for example, as a noun or as a verb. Consider a sentence where you say, give me the phone, it's a noun, or a sentence that you say where you say "I phone you tomorrow" is a verb. Userbot can understand these differences, so in the training, even in the tag training, Userbot is able to understand when you're training a specific part, a specific intent for verb recognition or for nouns recognition. There are deep analysis that is done running a language model. So Userbot can understand the similarities as its own vocabularies, so it can understand variation, as we see before. I try to ask something I didn't train, but it can understand because it has its language model. The language model will be replaced with a spatially neural embedding generation. This means that you will not have to tell Userbot 3 or 4 variation of the same questions, because he will be able to generate itself. Actually, all the Userbot technology is available for English, Italian, and French. There are other languages that will be released in the first quarter of 2021. Some languages will arrive until the end of 2021. For example, complex languages as Russian or Chinese. Userbot also have a sentiment analysis, so it understand it can understand if users are happy or are angry. It's also have a supervised and semi-automatic training. I will show you in a few minutes what happens when Userbot doesn't know how to answer. You will find unanswered questions in the training session, in the training part of the dashboard, and you can easily train them. Also can manage error and understand abbreviation. I noticed there is a user asking for will it work for other languages? Yes, as I was telling before, actually Userbot work for Italian, English, and French. We will implement German and Spanish in the next month, and also Chinese and Russian.
So Spanish would be coming next month.
Okay. Yeah, so it will become, we say, until the end, until the first quarter of 2021. But
right.
probably next month.
All right, awesome. So because the user is asking about Portuguese or Spanish, so that's why.
As it's not so simple to implement new languages, because it also requires someone that has a very good knowledge of the specific language and is a good data analyst. But we found them, so we are implementing the new languages.
Awesome. So you will get new languages soon by the first quarter of 2021.
Great. About architecture, actually, Userbot is, first of all, I put it last, but I want to tell this for first. Userbot is very secure. It uses JSON token. It uses security systems such as SSL. It uses secure WebSocket, so communications between user and Userbot is protected, can be intercepted. Userbot uses a microservice architecture. There are different services that do different tasks, and so in these services, if there is too much load in a specific comment, can be replicated to increase the capacity of manage the load. Also, there is a parallel distribution for tasks. So if a user make a question, one of the users asks the user about something, the question and the relative answer will be distributed and sent to the first available microservice that answer to questions. So it's an architecture that scale easily, that scales with very few hours or minutes, and something that is very stable, because anytime you have to scale, you can do, and there is always the same situation. You don't have to try something you didn't understand or you didn't try before. It's something repeatable, so you can do it in a very easy way. About Userbot patents, we actually have 2 patents pending with 11 claims. We completed almost all steps, so we are really close to the allowance status. These are based primary on the natural processing, natural language processing or Userbot. So we are asking for pendings that is related to our technology that can understand the natural language. And I think this is very important because it's something that make the ability to understand what user is saying of Userbot very, very good, very high. And we also test this on benchmarks. This benchmark has been run by Luleå University of Technology. What we do, we take exactly the same dataset, we apply exactly the same step, and we compare our results with the results that this university publish. All data are available, you can find on the link corporate. What are the data sets? This university used 3 datasets: the Ask Ubuntu, the web application corpus, and the chatbot corpus. You see there are different intents and different number of samples for each one. This university ran all these datasets on various application or engines such as IBM Watson, Rasa, Snips, and so on. And they have results for these runs. The results can go from 0 to 1, that is the best result. We do the same with Userbot Engine. What we see? For Ask Ubuntu Corpus, we had a score of 0.93. So Userbot was the better one than any others. It beat Watson, it beat Dialogflow, it beat any other technology that where the best score of competitors was 0.92. For web application, Userbot came second, so only Watson achieved 0.83, with Userbot that get 0.81. In the chatbot corpus, Userbot scores 0.91. So we are at the top level with Rasa, but Fuel and Lewis. All other competitors run worse than Userbot and the other. Well, this ends my presentation, and I decided to left few minutes for questions if you have.
Awesome, awesome. So there you go, guys. That was the presentation by Marco, who is the CTO of Userbot, and he has explained every aspect of Userbot. What you just saw are different aspects how Userbot is differentiated and stands out rest of the bots that you see on the internet, be it benchmarks or stress tests, be it starting with the simplicity of making a bot or making your own flow, and the amount of options it gives you to make your own flows, etc. And it has powerful conversation flows for different scenarios that your customer may present. You can also jump between flows and reuse those generic answer messages. You also have different integrations which you saw, and there was some NLP module as well. And let it keep it as a surprise for the users, which we'll announce in a few days. And what you're getting with Userbot is a stable product that scales easily for you. So let's look at some questions that we are getting. So if you have any questions right now, this is the time. You can leave it in the comment section down below and we will answer all your questions. So we've answered some questions about attaching images. We have answered about other languages, if it's supported or not. Yes, other languages would be supported soon, but right now it supports English, Italian, and French. So, and let's see the comments. The user says, awesome. Thanks for the explanation and demo.
Thank to you and for your time and your attention.
Thank you for your time and attention. And Venkatesh has a comment. I thought I'll give this a miss. Glad I watched the live session. Uh,
Great.
Venkatesh, we are glad you watched the live session. We are glad you're here, and we hope if you were, given the appropriate knowledge about this product, so that you can make the right decision for getting Userbot, if it's right for your business or not. And that is why we at PitchGround do these kind of webinars, guys, with the founders themselves, because we want to educate you and make you the decision maker, whether if this product is right for your business or not. It's up to you. And that's why we are not just a marketplace. We are here to educate you about the product, the pros, cons, how it's different from the other products on the market. And yes. So Venkatesh has again replied, my pleasure, absolutely useful session. Thank you so much, Venkatesh, once again. So guys, there are no more questions. And I got to know some personal facts about Userbot, which I didn't know before, regarding patents, etc. That was really fun. Marco, thank you for the session. And it was really knowledgeable. So as we so before ending this session, I would just like to say, you know, get use
Sorry if I my internet fall.
it's all right, it's all right. So it's all right. So yes. So there's one more question that we have, which is, will LTD buyers have discounts if new sub accounts are needed in the future?
I'm sorry, but I don't have an answer to these questions because I'm a technical profile. But I can ask if you give me just one moment.
Sure.
Meanwhile, if there is other questions, feel free to.
Yes. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section down below. And in the meantime, we will answer this question for you. Will lifetime buyers have discounts if new sub accounts are needed in the future? Of course, because with the current lifetime deal, you are having one agent with unlimited chats and unlimited chat history.
Okay, they tell me they have a 20% discount for sub accounts.
Awesome. So there you heard it. You will of course have a discount if you're, upgrading. If there's a need to upgrade your plan in the future for the LTD buyers.
Okay, this is for any kind of plan they choose. There is a 20% discount.
Awesome. Awesome. So I hope that answers your question regarding discounts if you need the sub accounts. And if there are any more questions, you can leave them in the comment section down below, or we'll be ending this webinar in the next 1 minute. So, all right, thanks. Awesome. And, you can get Userbot for your personal site. You can get Userbot for your business site. You just watch different aspects of how Userbot stands out from all the other chatbots in the market. We hope you are clear right now. And if you aren't clear, and if there is okay, if you have any doubt before making that decision, I want you to ask that doubts here, because we are here to clear every doubt you have. And when you are making a decision, we want to make sure that you know everything that you're getting when buying a lifetime deal, especially from PitchGround. So there are no more comments. I guess it's all clear in the presentation. And if you have just joined it in the middle of the session, it's totally all right. The replay would always be there on YouTube. There's a Userbot playlist, and also on our Facebook page. You can definitely check it out. And the replay would always be there. So to end it, I would just like to say, get Userbot yourself for yourself. And in Italian, we call it Ottieni Userbot Parti. Am I right?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. I'm glad I pronounced it correct. So, yes, thank you so much for this live session. And we'll see you in the upcoming webinars that we have planned for you. Until then, get your questions ready, guys, because we want you to make the right decision by knowing everything. Thank you so much, Marco, for this
Thank you
presentation.
very
And
much to you
yeah,
and to every of the user that follow us.
yes. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.